Good afternoon, students. Hope all of you are doing well. So let's enter the world of political science with a quote of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Ambedkar said that I measure the progress of a community with the degree of progress women have achieved. Ambedkar was talking about the progress of women in a community. Why? Because during the national freedom struggle, during the colonial periods, and I think in also current scenario, women are still subject to disadvantages. These disadvantages are due to the prejudice, conservative ideologies and practices which exist in the society. So all of us think that women get freedom, liberty, equality in all spheres. And this subject, political theory, will help us to understand all of these concepts, the freedom, liberty, equality, and it also help us to understand what are the root cause of such discriminations. So let's start our political theory subject. In my previous lecture, I dictate you about the political theory, or first of all, I dictate you about the branches of the political science, the comparative politics, second was the international relation, third one was the governance and public policy, and fourth was the political theory, where the word theory signifies that we have to observe or look upon the set of ideas which are intended to explain something. And what something? It is the politics in political theory. So we generally discuss ideas and concepts and ideologies in political theory. Ideas like freedom, justice, equality, liberty, nationalism, citizenship, secularism, all of these ideas are discussed in political theory. So let's start the book Political Theory, and in this lecture we are going to understand what are the chapters that are included in this book Political Theory. But before going towards the chapters, first of all understand what is the essence of this book also. As we have done this in our previous lectures, that what was the essence of the book Indian Constitution at Work. But in this lecture we are going to understand first of all what is the essence behind the book Political Theory, or what the message does the book Political Theory wants to convey to the students, or what the framers of this book, the Political Theory, want student to learn. Now first of all, look at the essence or the message behind this book, that what the framers of this book wants to convey, what message they want to deliver to the students, and what they want student to understand from this particular book. So first of all, we can categorize this message into 4 to 5 points broadly. So first of all, let's try to understand what is the essence behind this book, or we can say that what is the soul of this book, what this book wants you to understand, soul of this book, or what the message this book wants to convey to each and every student, or even to the teachers. This book wants, see, in simple manners or in simple terms, if I try to define explain the message behind this book, is that first of all, this book wants you to link your school life with the world outside your school. So first message is that the framers want, while reading the book, while understanding the different concept of this book, students must link their school life or these concepts which they are learning in the school to the world outside the school, so that there must be a static and dynamic combinations. First thing is that they want us to link our school life or school education with the outside world. So that we can get a wide view of the concept which we are going to understand in this particular book or the political theory. By linking the outside world and the school world, the gap of the school, home, or the community which you encounter in your daily life, that this gap gets narrow and narrow, and you try to understand that these are not all the different worlds but the same worlds, and we are dealing with the problems which are existing in the outside world. We are dealing with the ideologies which are already existing in the outside world. So this outside world and school linkage must be established in the classroom, and student must link this subject with the outside world. The first message or first motive behind this book is to link this subject with the outside world, so as to narrow the gap of home, community, and the school. So first message is the linking. Second message behind this book is that this book focus basically on the concept, not on the ideology. This book focus on the concept rather than focusing on the ideologies. What do we mean by this ideologies, and what do we mean by this concept? See, ideologies are propounded by different thinkers. So before going to the ideologies, or before learning the ideologies, we must learn the concept on which these ideologies are being derived. First of all, this book wants you to focus on the concept like the concept of freedom. What do we mean by the freedom? What are the different dimensions of the freedom? Why freedom is essential to our life? What happens if there is no freedom given to the citizens, only given to the people? So they want you to focus on the concept, like the concept of liberty. There is a difference between the freedom and the liberty. Freedom simply means when there is no restrictions or there is no constraint on a person. That is what we call the freedom. But what do we mean by the liberty? Liberty simply means that the responsible use of the freedom, when there are reasonable constraints, when there are justifiable constraints on a person, then it simply means that it is liberty. So this is the difference between the freedom and liberty. So they want you to understand the concepts of freedom, the concept of liberty. They want you to understand the concept of justice. Now what do we mean by justice? They want you to understand the concept of nationalism. They want you to understand the concept of secularism. After understanding all of these concepts in basic terms, we will move further towards the different ideologies which different political thinkers have propounded with the time. Political thinkers who propounded different concepts regarding to the freedom. For example, some political thinkers will have different views on the freedom and other political thinkers will have different views on the freedom. Some political thinkers will have different dimensions of justice, but other political thinkers may have different dimensions of the justice. Maybe their ideologies can be contradictory as well. So before going to the ideologies, we must understand the concept of justice, liberty, freedom, the concept of secularism, nationalism, citizenship. All of these concepts we are going to understand in this particular book of political theory. So second thing is that they want to link the school with the outside world. Second is that they want to focus on the concepts rather than focusing on the ideologies. These two messages are behind this book. There is also another message behind this book. What is that message? The third message is that they want the student to get involved in the studies, in such a manner that the student become the recipient of the knowledge and also the creator of the knowledge. So what? The student must be the recipient of the knowledge. So that student receive the knowledge, then they process the knowledge, and after including their own ideas, their own experience in this process, they should create another ideology as well. They must be the creator of knowledge as well. The third thing is the creator of knowledge. The book wants a student, first of all, to receive these different concepts, to learn these different concepts, then process these concepts in their mind and link them with the external world and their own experiences. And after linking that ideas, they can create new ideologies and can have a different or entirely different framework regarding to this. So this is the third thing that this book wants you to. Third is the involvement of the student. So first is to link the things. Second is to focus on the concept rather than focusing on the ideologies. Third is that this book wants you to involve like a recipient as well as processing the knowledge, and also student will create the different ideologies or different parts of the creator of the knowledge. So third thing is the involvement. Fourth thing, this book wants you to combine the static portion with the dynamic portion. Static and dynamic. So they want student to learn the old ideologies or the ideologies of different political thinkers, concept of different political thinkers. This is the static portion. And also they want that the student link these all of things with the current events. For example, the current affairs which we read in which we are going to understand in our no back day activities. The same things we have to link this dynamic with the current portion as well as the current scenario, because all of these ideologies are not abstract, they are dynamic ideologies, because with the time the thinking changes, the aspirations changes, the need of the people changes, and due to this the ideologies slightly varies. Therefore, we not have to only focus on the static part. The static part is the only concept, but we have to move dynamic as well, because as a human being we are going to work in different fields. As a human being we are going to do different works at different stages of our life. We are going to encounter different people in different communities at our different stages of our life, so that we have to mold those ideologies according to the dynamic demands. So this book wants the student to learn static part as well and combine those static parts with the dynamic part or the dynamic events that are happening in the society. So third thing or the fourth thing which this book wants us to combine the static and the dynamic portion. So they want the students to move with these things, static plus dynamic. The first one is to link this the school world and the outside world. Second one is to focus on the concepts rather than focusing on the ideologies. We are also going to understand the ideologies, but first of all we are going to understand the concept, and on each concept there are different ideologies of different political thinkers. Then we are going to learn about these ideologies. Third thing, they want students to involve in such a manner that they receive the knowledge, they process the knowledge, and they also create their own sphere of these ideologies, or they also can have the perception of what is right and what is wrong, and what are valuable and what are not valuable things in these ideologies, so that they can get a critical approach of every ideologies. Fourth is the static plus dynamic. They want students to combine the static and the dynamic portion as well, so that they can take the old tradition along with them and also induce the modern things or the modern requirements of the society in the political ideologies. So these are the four things or the essential message which are behind this book. There are also another messages behind this book. The after static and dynamic portion, there is also one more thing which is behind this book, or this book wants us to convey, and that thing is basically, if we talk about that thing, the fourth point or fifth point. So these ideologies, if we look at the fifth point, so first one was the link, and the second one was to focus on different ideologies, and third was to involve, and fourth was to be in a static and connecting the static and the dynamic portion as well. The fifth thing is that this book wants a student to take a position. For what position? This book wants a student to take a position in a society. This book wants student to understand the different ideologies, to critically analyze these different ideologies, and this book wants student that after understanding all of these ideologies, the student must take a position in the society, so in a political debates, or rather than shaping the political public policies. During shaping the public policies or during the public debates, the student must take a position, or student will be able to take a position only after learning the political theories, or only after learning or understanding the different ideologies or concepts of the political theory. This is the message this book wants to convey, that it is mandatory for a student to learn these different concepts, because after understanding these concepts, then only you are able to take a position in a society, so that whenever you are in a political debate or whenever you are forming a public policy, you will have a better understanding of the society and these concepts, so you can take a better position in the society, and you can evolve better these policies through reading the political theory. So this is also the sense or the message behind this book wants to convey. And this book also stated that, or the framers at last stated that, when a student can defend its position, when a student develop the ability, or they are saying that after reading the book at the end of the year, if a student is able to reflect on its own ideas, reflect on its own belief, and the student can reflect on its own ideas, reflect on its own belief, and they can also be creators of new knowledge, and they can defend their positions, that why they are following some particular ideologies, or they have molded some old ideologies, then only the mission of this book will be successful. So this is the essence behind the book Political Theory. So first of all, what is the essence? The first is the book wants to link the school world with the outside world. The second is that the book is focused more on the concept rather than focusing on the ideologies. Third thing is that the book wants student to involve as a recipient, and also to process the knowledge, and to as a creator of the knowledge. And fourth thing with this book is that they want student to combine the static and the dynamic portions as well. Fifth thing is that they want student to take a position in a public debate, or take a position in forming the public policies, and how this position can be taken when he have a good knowledge regarding to the particular ideologies which are existing in the society, and these ideologies we can learn in the political theory. And this book wants us that after learning all the political ideologies, after a year, the student must be able to generate such skills that he can participate in any debate, or he can give his position or views or opinions, or he get the ability to reflect on its own ideas and beliefs, and he get the ability to defend his own position. Then only the experiment of this book will be successful. This is the essence behind the book Political Theory. So first of all, we have understand already that this is the essence behind the book. Now let's try to understand what are the chapters included in this book though. So if we move further and try to understand the chapters in this book, these are the chapters which are included in this. There are total 8 chapters which are included in this book. 5 of them are these chapters, and 6th one is the citizenship, and 7th nationalism, and 8th secularism. Now if we look at the chapters of this book, political theory and introduction. First chapter is about the political theory and introduction. I have given you a general introduction of the political theory, that political theory is a branch of political science in which we philosophically study about the nature, scope and legitimacy of the public agent and institutions and relationship between them. So this was the basic definition of the political theory, and in this chapter where first of all we are going to understand the definition, or we are going to define the term political theory. After defining the political theory, we are going to understand that what do we study in the political theory. And as I said you that we study different concepts like freedom, liberty, equality, justice, because these are not the abstract concepts or small concepts. These are wide concepts, and they can be understood when they are going to be understood in depth. Then only we can have some positions on these points. Otherwise, we are not going to understand, or we are not going to debate in a reasoned manner without understanding these ideologies. So what we are going to understand? We are going to understand different ideologies, different political thinkers like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, modern political thinkers like Niccolo Machiavelli, Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. All of these political thinkers, we are going to study about them and their ideologies and what was the impact of their ideologies in practical life. For example, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was also a political thinker. He in his political thinking, he included the scheduled caste, which we said he talked about the rights of the scheduled caste, and all of these ideologies of rights of scheduled caste are incorporated in the Indian Constitution. This is the practical use of his ideology. So these all we are going to study these thinkers, their ideologies and the practical use of these ideologies in the political theory. After understanding the what we are going to understand, then we will move further, and that why do we need political theory as a subject. After discussing the needs of political theory, we are going to understand what is the significance of understanding the political theory. As I mentioned you that there are many significance of understanding the political theory. The first is that we are in our later stages, we are also going to join any profession, so we must be aware about our rights, we must be aware about what is freedom, we must be aware about the citizenships, we must be aware about the nationalism. So these are the concepts which are really mandatory for a human being to understand, whether he is a student of humanities or not. I think that these are the essential concepts, or someone of any field, they must have a bit knowledge regarding to these concepts as well. So first chapter is regarding to the political theory and introduction, in which we will define, understand what we are going to learn in the political theory, what is the need of the subject, and what are the significance of the political theory. The second chapter is the freedom. Now if you go for the word freedom, there are different meanings of the freedom. The word connotes different types of meanings, and each particular political thinker have a different interpretation of the freedom. But first of all, we are going to define the word freedom. So in each and every chapter, first of all, we are going to take a definition of every ideology. We cannot define it in simple terms, because these ideologies cannot be defined in 2 or 3 lines. But for a basic understanding, we will take a definition or universal definition of all of these points. For example, if you look at the definition of the freedom, it is simple that when there is a absence of constraints on a person, then it is termed as a freedom. For example, the constraints always come from the external sources. There are no internal constraints. Human being, it is rare that a human being impose internal constraint on himself or herself, but the source of the constraint are also always external. When there is absence of external constraints, then this state is known as the freedom. Then we will move further and try to understand that why do we need freedom? What is the need of freedom? If there is no freedom, then what will happen in the society? Third thing, that freedom must have some constraints or must have some restrictions. There must be some restrictions or constraints on the freedom of an individual. Then comes the concept why there must be some constraints, because in society people have different ambitions, and these ambitions can be conflictory. and due to the contradictory or conflictory ambitions, there can be many conflicts in the society. So the conflicts doesn't arrive in the society, the conflicts can be on the scarce resources as well, to take up the scarce resources. So these conflict do not arise in society, therefore it becomes necessary that there must be some constraints on a human being or individual or a citizen, so that he cannot infringe the sphere of rights of other person. So this is the concept behind the constraints. Then we will go to understand from where these constraints will come, what will be the sources of the constraints. The constraints must be imposed by the law of the land, and these constraints must be reasonable constraints. They should be reasonable constraints, because unreasonable constraints are not justified. Only reasonable constraints are going to be justified constraints. So after understanding the constraints, we are going to understand the positive and negative liberty. There are two concepts of positive and negative liberty. These concepts were given by a famous political thinker, Isaiah Berlin. Berlin said that there is a positive liberty and a negative liberty. Positive and negative here doesn't connote that positive means the merits and negative means the demerits, or negative means the bad and the positive means the good. No, it is not like that. Positive liberty simply means that there will be the presence of a state in the life of an individual. The state will provide the facilities or opportunities to a person to develop himself or herself. In negative liberty, the people who are the followers of the negative liberty and people who are the supporters of the negative liberty, they said that negative simply means the absence of something. What something? The absence of a state in the life of an individual. Because the supporters of the negative liberty states that an individual in his own capacity is quite more understandable, and individual in its own capacity is rational. So a state do not need to interfere in someone's personal space. So that individual, if the state is not interfering, then only individual can grow. But what positive liberty states that if the state is interfering, then only individual can grow. But what we have to take, whether positive liberty is correct or negative liberty, both are correct, and in a balanced manner. If both are running in a balanced manner with each other, then only there can be a good balance of the rights which are given to the citizens. So positive and negative liberty concepts we are going to understand in the chapter freedom. So after understanding the positive and negative liberty, this chapter, chapter second, freedom, there is the third chapter. The third chapter is known as the equality. Now, if we define equality in simple terms, we simply means making two things equal, but this is not the concept of equality. The equality has various dimensions. First of all, we are going to learn in this chapter about the definition of the equality. If in simple terms, if I try to define equality, which we actually cannot define it in simple terms, but if we define it in simple terms, then it simply means that providing political, economic and social rights equally to all individuals which are existing in a country or in a society. This is what we call the equality. But more than equality, there is an existence of inequality in the society. Then we are going to understand the inequality in the society. First of all, we are going to define the term equality. Then we are going to understand that what is inequality, because inequality is more frequent and can be seen in society rather than watching the equality. Equality, what are the different types of the equality? Political inequality, social inequality, economic inequality. See, because of the economic inequality, there is a class distribution of high class, middle class, lower class, or below poverty line classes. Why these classes are taking place in the society, and why these classes have been formed in the society? It is because of the economic inequality. So we are going to understand the various dimensions of the economic inequality, and after understanding the inequality, we are going to understand the equality. That what is the equality, why do we need equality, and what are the different dimensions or what are the different parts of the equality. For example, political equality, it simply means that providing political rights or the fundamental rights to each and every citizens. Second is the social equality, that in a society there should be no discriminatory policies among the people. So this is the social equality. Third one is the economic equality. The government must ensure that each and every individual should get a basic minimum income, so that there should be no more gap between the rich and poor. So we are going to understand different dimensions of the equality, and after understanding the different dimensions of the equality, we are going to understand about more examples which are related to the equality and inequality in this particular chapter. So after understanding the concept of equality, we will be much rational to understand that why equality matters in the society. So this is the third chapter about the equality. Fourth chapter is about the social justice. This is the most important topic regarding to any exam, or all of these are important regarding to not only for the 11th exam, but the exams which you will fight after 12th class or even after the graduation. All of these concepts, you will encounter all of these concepts in those exams as well. So in the basic understanding of these concepts can be learned from the class 11. The fourth chapter is the social justice. Now, first of all, before understanding the social justice, we have to understand the word justice. What do we mean by the justice? If we define the word justice in simple terms, the justice is derived from the Latin word justia, which means to bind, and therefore we can define it the system which is binding the society, the system due to which society is bounded, or the system due to which society is running properly. This system is in simple terms known as the justice. During ancient period, justice was connected to the dharma, or we can say that justice was connected to the duties, and during the medieval period we connect the justice with the different religions. But in the modern period we have connected the justice with the laws, the laws that are mentioned in the constitution, or the laws which are framed to ensure proper justice in the society. Because of these laws, justice can be provided to each and every section of the society. So this is the justice. Justice simply means the system which has binded the society, and which has bounded the society and which binds the society in togetherness is known as justice. And in present context, justice is related to the laws which we frame to ensure the equality, freedom of each and every individual in the society, and everyone gets at least minimum resources to develop themselves. This is the concept of the justice, and this is known as justice. After understanding the justice, we will come to the concept of what is the social justice. Now, if you look at the discrimination, there can be two types of discrimination. The first discrimination can be at the individual level. The discriminations which are at the individual level, they do not have a major impact, but the discrimination which are at the social level, they will have a major impact on the society, and due to this some communities in the societies will move further, and those communities which have moved further, they are going to discriminate to the other sections of the society, and due to this these other sections get into the dilapidated states, or their situations get vulnerable with the time. They don't get access to the opportunities, they don't get access to the resources. For example, if you can look at the Dalit community of India, and because of this discrimination at the social level, these communities are in present scenario as well, many of them are still out of the mainstream. For example, if you can look at the tribal societies of the country, they are also out of the mainstream. Why? Because at some course of time, some part of the society have discriminated them in such a manner that they didn't get the access of education, they didn't get the access of resources. That is why we need to deliver them justice. So when there is a discrimination on the social level, this will have a wide impact on those groups which are which we can call them vulnerable group. For example, women can be included in the vulnerable group, the black people can be included in the vulnerable group, the Dalits can be included in the vulnerable groups. So these all are the vulnerable groups, and for making such laws to bring these vulnerable groups into the mainstream is known as social justice. For bringing these all communities into the mainstream by enforcing the different laws, these laws are termed as the social justice. So this is the concept of the social justice. So first of all, we are going to understand the justice, then we are going to understand the social justice. After understanding the social justice, we will come to the point what are the different theories regarding to the justice. For example, the first theory is the equal treatments of equal, but this theory also have some drawbacks. Second theory will be about the equality of opportunity, providing everyone the equal opportunity, or the concept of the proportionate justice means that we have to deliver resources according to the different talents. And the third concept is about the recognition of the special needs, that we have to deliver resources according to the needs of the person. We are going to understand all of these theories in detail in this chapter, and after understanding all of these theories, there is a concept of wheel of ignorance concept. The concept was given by John Rawls' theory of justice. This concept is known as John Rawls' theory of justice. John Rawls provided a framework that how can better laws be formulated in society so that everyone get an equal access to the justice. So this is the concept of wheel of ignorance. We are going to understand this concept, what is the wheel of ignorance and how it actually works. So this is all, these are all things which we are going to understand in the chapter social justice. Then comes the fifth chapter, which is known as rights. First of all, it's the same thing we are going to do in this chapter as well, rights. First of all, we are going to define that what is the rights. Now if you look at what is the rights, rights are essentially a justified claims. Rights are essentially a justified claim. Those claims which are justified, that a person, that we as a human should get these things or that things, if they are justified, then they are our rights. For example, right to live is my justified right. Nobody can deny my right to live. This is my justified right. This is what we know about the rights. Right simply means that the, essentially that claims which are justified. Those claims which are justified are known as rights. In simple terms, we call them rights. So basically, rights means the justified claims. Now came the second we can look at the another definition of right as well. The another definition can be that rights are the external conditions provided to a human being to develop his internal conscience or for his internal development. So these are the rights, those conditions which are provided, those external conditions provided to a human being through which he can develop himself from internally. These conditions are known as rights. There can be another definition of rights as well. Rights are those claims which should be accepted by the society and enforced by the laws. If these claims are not accepted by the society and not enforced by the laws, then these are not termed as right and we cannot include them as right. First of all, society must accept these claims and then the state must enforce these claims. Then only these will be our rights. So first of all, we are going to define the rights. Then after that, we are going to understand that what are the different types of the rights. The first one is the natural rights. Natural rights simply means that the rights that a person get when he get born, then with the birth some person have the rights. This is a strong feeling, this is a strong instinct that with the birth you have some rights. These rights are right to live, right to property and right to freedom. These are the three essential rights which a person get by birth or person must get by a birth. So these are the natural rights. Second category of the rights are the moral rights. Moral rights simply means that behind the moral rights there is only the force of a society. There is no force of a state. For example, if these rights, if you violate some moral rights, then society may be going to punish you, but state is not going to punish you. These type of rights are known as the moral rights. For example, respecting the elders, it is one of the part of the moral rights. If you respect your elders, then it's fine. If you don't respect your elders, for example, if you don't respect your elders, then state is not going to punish you for that. These are the moral rights. And first is the natural rights, then the moral rights, and third are the legal rights. These are the rights which are enforced by the state or which are enforced by the state through a constitution or any other law. Legal rights are mandatory and these legal rights are provided by the state to each and every citizen of the country. Again, legal rights are further divided into many types. For example, legal rights are first of all the citizens' right, the rights of the citizens or the political rights, the right to vote, right to elect your candidate or right to become a candidate in the election. These all are the political rights, or right to criticize your government. These are all the rights that a citizen gets. These are the political rights. The political rights. Then comes the social rights, like right to live, right to freedom, right to work, right to express. All of these types of rights are the part of the legal rights. So broadly we can categorize rights into three types. The first is the natural rights, second is the natural rights, and the second one is the legal rights. As I told you that legal rights are enforced by the state, and third is the moral rights which are enforced by the society, and state will not punish you for the moral rights. So these are the different type of the rights, and after understanding the rights we are going to understand one more concept which is related to the rights. This concept is duties, because in one hand state is giving you the rights and from another hand state want you to obey some duties as well. So it is your duties to follow some duties. So what are the duties? Simply, duties are some work which a person should follow, as because in return of the duties he is getting some rights from the state. So this is the second part of the coin. The right and duties are the same, are the obverse and reverse sides of a coin. So this is the rights and duties. We are going to understand what are the duties, what are the different kinds of duties which we have to obey in this chapter number 5th. So these are the 5 chapters, and I give you brief introduction about these chapters. In our next lecture, I will give you the brief introduction of the remaining 3 chapters, the citizenship, nationalism and the secularism. And after understanding all of these in a brief manner, we are going to start all of the chapters from one by one. Till then, take care. Thank you.